Am I the idiot for kicking out my sister-in-law for bringing meat into my home to feed her kids? I am vegan. For my own personal ethical reasons. I have no problem with other people eating meat. I have been watching my nephews on the weekends for the last few months to help my brother out. Him and his wife work opposite schedules during the week and barely see each other. So the boys get dropped off with me on Friday night and get picked up Sunday night. I feed them on Saturday and up until an afternoon snack on Sunday. My brother gives me some money to watch them, but I don't really need it, and usually end up spending it on outings for the three of us. Movies, the zoo, museums, that sort of stuff. I like being the fun aunt. I do not limit what the boys eat. If we are out somewhere and they want a burger or chicken nuggets, they get that. Well, their mom found out that the meals at my home were vegan, and she had a problem with that. So she packed them snacks with meat. Like jerky and pepperoni sticks and string cheese. I don't want that in my house, so I asked her to please not do it again. But she did. So I said that until she understood my very simple rules, I would not allow her in the house and I would not watch the kids. She thinks I'm being an idiot because her children need meat. And that I should be grateful for the extra money I get for watching my nephews. Once again, I probably spend more on them every weekend than I get from my brother. My parents know how I feel about meat. They know I won't even get a dog or a cat as a pet because they need meat in their diets. My brother has asked me to please go back to the way it was. I have no problem with that, but he has to control his woman. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot for even thinking that your brother needs to control his woman. The typical rule for babysitting is that if the parents provide the food, that is what you feed the kids. You aren't okay with that, and that is fine. That just means you will have a limited relationship with your nephews. It doesn't sound like sister-in-law really cared for the arrangement anyway and is fine with not having you babysit. Not the idiot. Kids don't need meat every day, and you're not restricting them from eating meat when you're out and about with them anyway. If she wants to feed them animal products on the weekends, she needs to either be watching them herself or paying for a market-rate childcare service, not insisting that you keep meat and dairy products in your own home. That said, he has to control his woman. Weird that someone so concerned with animal welfare would think that a human woman can or should be controlled by a man. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for asking my girlfriend to dress better on a date night? So we had decided to go out on the weekend, and I suggested going somewhere fancy. She says okay, and I find an upscale Chinese restaurant and show it to her. She says cool, and we agree to spend the evening there. Fast forward to the evening, I see her dressed in a t-shirt and worn-down jeans. I ask her why she's not wearing a dress, and she just replies she doesn't feel like it. I'm like, oh, okay, but I told you it's a fancy place. And she's like, it's just a Chinese restaurant. I pull up their Instagram and try to show her their feed to convince her that it's upscale, but she doesn't even want to look at it. I ask her again to dress appropriately, and this time she's pissed, and she says we're not going anywhere tonight. We haven't talked since then, it's been a day now. She usually likes to dress up even when we go to a normal bar. This is leaving me confused. Am I the idiot here? Edit, just wanted to make a few things clear. The place had a dress code smart elegant, so not really dressy and not too casual either. I wasn't asking her to specifically wear a dress, but just to dress a bit better. We live together and I know her wardrobe, and a dress is usually what she prefers to wear when she dresses up. I looked at a few posts and stories on their page, and in most of them the women seemed to be dressed up a bit. I did not want her to feel uncomfortable when we got there, as she's pretty self-conscious. Edit 2, people asking me what I wore. I wasn't dressed yet, I usually wait until she's done. But anyway, I was planning to wear a polo shirt and a pair of chinos. Edit 3, she's not xenophobic or racist, I can vouch for that. Ignorant, I don't know. To people saying chinos and a polo is not dressed up, this is in Dubai and the weather is insanely hot, especially during the summer. Wearing a suit is not an option, and when you do, you look out of place. NTA, dressing up for a restaurant or an event is just basic adulting. You gave her a heads up in advance regarding how fancy this place was. You mentioned she has dressed up in the past, so she has no trouble doing it. I think the real problem here has yet to be articulated by her. I hope you find out what the real issue is and you can work it out. Update us if possible, and good luck. No idiots here, but given that you say she usually does dress up, I might have taken it a bit more seriously when she said she didn't want to. Maybe she really didn't feel able to put in a lot of effort. Perhaps you could have said, okay, well, why don't we go to some casual place and save this for a night you're up to something fancy? She might have still had the same reaction, but I suspect not. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not letting my daughter visit grandma? A little background. About 2.5 years ago, sister-in-law decided to move to no contact. We're in WA, for her new boyfriend. After she moved, she made everybody else in my husband's family move with her as well, ignoring the fact that our life here in WA is set. We have decent jobs and a lovely home. So after a while, Mother-in-law also moved there and also started nagging us about moving. Many stories aside, you see we don't have the same mentality, same lifestyle. Even my husband is angry/disappointed at them for doing stupid things that they do, especially in parenting. Our daughter turned 6 a few weeks ago. Last year mother-in-law came to visit her on her birthday and wanted us to take her to no contact so she can spend the summer there with other family members. We said we can't leave for that long, then she offered to take my daughter there and my brother-in-law will bring her back home after July 4th. I definitely said no. She was freaking 5. I can't let her go across the country without any parents. Left alone, we don't like how they spend time with the kids at all. All they do is to throw each of them an iPad to play with and call it good. The oldest grandkid, who is now 10, has a forking biggest iPad, laptop size, since 6 and spends at least 6 hours per day on it. But when mother-in-law got back last year, she kept whispering the idea of spending summer in no contact to my daughter, and that made her really excited. One thing led to another. They put me in the spot where I can't say no. I don't want to be the bad guy here. So in the end my daughter spent 2 weeks last year in no contact through July 4th. Husband and I were devastated. So was our daughter. The day she left she realized we're not with her, and she cried to sleep. After the thrill of the first week, she got so homesick and started calling us every hour every day. This year, the same poop happens again. Mother-in-law got back for our daughter's birthday, nagging to her about summer and no contact again, but this year she's in school so she can't leave till the end of June. Mother-in-law doesn't want to come back to take her there, so I told my husband if he wants to he can take her, just bring her back with him before July 4th. I want to celebrate the holiday with my kid. This dumbass kept promising her to book her ticket to no contact and let his brother bring her back just like last year. I lost it. It happens exactly how things were last year. I asked him why he thought it's a good idea to take my daughter away from me on the holiday. He claims that he only said it but hasn't bought her ticket or anything, which I know he will, and if not, what are you trying to teach a 6-year-old here? He ended up leaving me hanging in the middle of the fight with. Then you figure it out. And got mad at me. Please tell me what I have to figure out here? My mother-in-law is using my daughter after she can't convince us. Why do I have to figure things out? And most importantly, figure what out? Please, young moms out there, would you let your 6-year-old spend 2 weeks across the country without you? Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. She's too young to spend time with people she barely knows. Can the 3 of you go and rent an Airbnb nearby? I don't think you want to be in their house for 2 weeks. Your husband needs to handle his family. He's putting them above his child's welfare. If he can't see this, then some parenting classes are in order. As parents, our obligation is to do what's best for them, not what keeps the peace with other people. Not the idiot. You should not be forced to be uncomfortable for sending your kid who is only 6 across the country. Emergencies can happen, and if you are on the other side of the US, it would be hard to drop everything to go see her. When you said? But when mother-in-law got back last year, she kept whispering the idea of spending summer in no contact to my daughter, and that made her really excited. I first thought that this was manipulation and she is a bad influence on your daughter. In my opinion, I think you should set boundaries with your mother-in-law, and if she refuses, then go no contact. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for missing my wife's appointment because my sister was in the hospital? I have been with my wife, female 29, for 6 years. My wife is pregnant and suffering from complications, and we have weekly appointments since she's at high risk. She also has very high anxiety about this pregnancy since we have lost in the past, so I always make sure I'm off or available on days of her appointments to go with her. We also have a 4-year-old son who has autism. Our son is especially hard to get up and ready, especially quickly. He throws tantrums or hides when he does not want to do something. It can be a struggle trying to get him out the house. A few days ago was our appointment, but I got a call from my mother saying my sister was being rushed to the hospital, and it was super serious. I explained to my wife, head there 40 minutes away. I find out it's not as serious as they thought, and my sister had a minor concussion and dislocated knee. My mom is known to be dramatic. I tell my wife, and she's furious because I missed the appointment, and she ended up being late because our son wasn't cooperating and how he screamed most of the appointment. When I'm there, it's easier to calm him down when he gets overwhelmed. She told me she saw where my priorities were. I told her it wasn't my fault. I didn't know my sister wasn't actually seriously injured, and she told me she's my wife, carrying our child, and that she needed me there but I wasn't reliable. She began ranting about what if she found out that day something was wrong with the baby, and I wasn't there. I said but you didn't, and she completely flipped. She's still being weird to me, and has been nagging me not to miss this next appointment. I know it's probably the pregnancy hormones, but am I really not the idiot? I'm so sorry it's in this situation that no matter what you did, you were going to upset someone. Your mom is TA for being overly dramatic, and your wife should not make you choose between your sister and her. That's unfair. I would wait till she calms down slightly and have a gentle conversation about this, acknowledge her anxiety, and how you want to be there and you are. This may be like this though throughout the whole pregnancy. Not the idiot. You were in a no-win situation. You weren't obligated to go to either hospital, but you were expected to buy various women. You couldn't cut yourself in half to go to both hospitals. So you were definitely going to piss off somebody. I think your wife needs to cut you some slack. With what you knew before you left home, you made the difficult but logical and correct choice. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling everyone why my brother-in-law wasn't at his daughter's birthday party? I, male 37, have recently separated from my wife, female 37, for a multitude of reasons, but the one at the top of the list is her prioritization of her best friend / SIL. She married the brother, in all aspects of her life. I've drawn a hard line on having no communication, except for childcare arrangements, and so far that has been working. She contacted me about my niece's upcoming birthday party, SIL's daughter, and if I would be okay bringing our daughter. It was my week with her. The kids love playing with each other, and I didn't think it was fair for them to miss out just because I might feel awkward about it. We went along, and everything was fine. I avoided sister-in-law and my ex as much as possible, and mingled and socialized with the other parents. I eventually got talking to one mom, who made a comment that blew my mind. When I got to the party, I noticed that brother-in-law wasn't there, niece's dad. I had overheard sister-in-law tell people he was working, which sucks, but fair enough. But when I spoke to this mom, she cracked a joke about how brother-in-law owed silk flowers, because both of their husbands were actually away golfing that day. This mom was obviously unaware that sister-in-law was telling people something else. For the rest of the party, whenever I was mingling and anyone brought up something along the lines of, "Shame brother-in-law is working," I immediately corrected them and told them where he actually was. The rest of the party went fine, but I later got an angry phone call from my ex who told me I had blabbed to SIL's boss about things, and how they were disappointed in their parental priorities. I snapped back that it was a complete joke that brother-in-law skipped his own daughter's birthday party to go golfing, and that they should be ashamed. After the call, I did feel a little guilty. I messed with SIL's boss, and may have done so because of prior resentment I have for sister-in-law. As much as I hate her, I wouldn't want her to lose her job or anything like that, but I just couldn't keep my mouth shut. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. Do you even care about your daughter at all? Do you realize that the more acrimonious you make your separation and divorce, the more she's going to suffer? Why would you gleefully pick such a petty fight as this when it's going to create an argument, and more fighting that will eventually hurt your own child as collateral damage? You really need to grow up and get over yourself. Everyone sucks here. Yeah, it sucks that brother-in-law missed his daughter's birthday party to go golfing. However, what you were doing also sucked. It sounds like you're still a bit vindictive toward your wife and in-laws. Even if they do things you don't like or agree with, you need to remember that your daughter should be the priority. These people are still her family and loved ones, and she cares about them like she does you. You put your daughter in an extremely difficult and unfair situation. She just wanted to celebrate the birthday of her close friend and cousin. Then dad came in and started trying to shame uncle, making mom and aunt upset. Even if you divorce your wife and don't spend a lot of time with your brother and sister-in-law after, you still should be civil. You're still going to have to co-parent with your wife. Don't burn your bridges, because your daughter still needs them. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.